Hi guys and welcome back to the channel Held Dominance. Anthony here. Please remember to like and subscribe, and also please click that notification bell if you're enjoying what you're seeing and if you want to see more. Coming up in today's episode, a change of nation for the Rugby League World Cup wheelchair teams. Roosters put all their eggs in the one Robinson basket. And Shaun Wane calls up 30 men for his train-on squad prior to the Rugby League World Cup. So we'll begin with the look into Shaun Wane's first training squad of 2022, a year which includes a mid-season international against the Combined Nations All-Stars in June and culminates in the Rugby League World Cup 2021 when the autumn arrives. 30 of the best Super League players will come together at Headingley Stadium on Tuesday the 15th of March. Among them is emerging talents such as Lewis Dodd and Wigan Warriors London-born second rower Guy Pearce-Paul, and also the return of the 38 times capped Hull KR winger Ryan Hall. Hall has scored 34 tries in his England appearances of 38 to date, the most recent cap coming against New Zealand in the Denver Test in 2018. 4 years on, he's back in the squad. But in contrast, Lewis Dodd and Guy Pearce-Paul are among the number of players uncapped at senior level, as well as Matty Lees and Jack Wellsby, Dodd's teammates, Liam Marshall at Wigan Warriors, Harry Newman from Leeds Rhinos, and Jake Wardle of Huddersfield Giants. Headingley will be the first in a series of monthly sessions with players throughout 2022 as England build towards the postponed Rugby League World Cup of 2021. Wane will factor in form, fitness when inviting players to future sessions. NRL players are not available for either training sessions or the mid-season internationals though, which means the contingents down in Australia, that includes people like Josh Hodgson and Elliot Whitehead, will not be involved until the season ends. England edge coach Shaun Wane said it's a massive year for us and a great opportunity that we must prepare well for. We look at a number of things in putting this training squad together. Form last year, performances in the All-Stars games and France games, pre-season training and discussions around up-and-coming young players. The players included for the first session need to look like England players and train like England players. We want something extra from them at this level. The younger players coming through are a real credit to Paul Anderson and Paul Sculthorpe on the performance pathway, club coaches and junior coaches too. To me, it doesn't matter whether you're 17 or 37. If I think you can help us win the World Cup, you'll be in the squad. I've spoken to a lot of players, and the ones not included at this stage know that they can still force their way in. It's an open book, and I see some of them coming back in later in the year. As you can see from the names on the list, they are predominantly players that Shaun Wane has worked with before, as well as English players that are coming from the champions at St Helens and Warrington's former England players. Well, I say former as in previously England performances. While Niall Evans and Paul McShane from Castleford are involved, that's mostly due to them being involved last against France. Niall Evans hasn't done too bad in the Castleford side, and Paul McShane is definitely a leader. Tom Davis was a top try scorer for Catalans last year, while Sam Tompkins is another one from Wigan days with Shaun Wane. Jermaine McGilvray played in the All-Stars team against England last year and scored against England, so he is going to be well thought of, and he's been brought back into the squad because of that. Jake Wardle's had not a bad start to this season, and his end of the season form wasn't too bad as well in 2021. Ryan Hall, just the experience, he's got back to full fitness, he's working with Tony Smith, and is getting through the work that is expected the winger do? Tries are not there at the moment, but they'll surely come. Cruz Leeming, Harry Newman, Mikołaj Jalecki. Cruz Leeming I tip to be one of the forces that's acting halfback and hooker position, and he is also another leader. Harry Newman is a little bit of a weird one. I know Shaun Wane wants to look at him a bit more, but he's not really played this season. And Mikołaj Jalecki, I rate him. He's a good young prop forward and someone to build on for England squads in the future. Dan Sargentson, centre that he knows well from Wigan days. Lewis Dodd, young player, started off like a house on fire and has been at the heart of a lot of what Saints have done going forward. The forwards, Morgan Knowles and Matty Lees, solid championship winning forwards. You can't say anything more about them, like Alex Walmsley. But then you've got the backs that are there. Johnny Lomax, on fire for the last 2 seasons, real creative force. Tommy Makinson, top winger, former Golden Boot winner in Rugby League's international stages. Jack Wellesby, the one that I think may be the reason why Jake Connor will not be involved in the squads for England if he stays fit. Then we go to Wakefield. Reece Lynn, top centre. 30 though, he may have a bit less time to shine at the England level than others do. And Darryl Clark, he's like James Roby, he gets the teams running and up and running and will be a quality goal forward man for England in the World Cup. Mike Cooper, Ben Curry, 2 very, very good as forwards. Played for England before. Ben Curry is probably one of the better second rowers in the competition. Stephen Ratchford, great fullback. Tall, good with the hands, great pass out wide to Josh Charnley against Toulouse, so he's got that creative in him. And George Williams is coming back into form, but Shaun Wane is his coach. He knows exactly what you'll get from George Williams. Then the England contingent, you can say what you want, but Kai Pearce-Paul is one of the X Factor young lads. Maybe too soon for him for this World Cup, but it'll be good to see how he copes with being around the exalted form and players that are out there in that squad. So more information has come out for the England schedule going into the World Cup. Further training sessions will take place in April, May, July and August, while details of June's mid-season international versus the Combined Nations All-Stars will be announced this Friday, March the 4th. While England is set to play Fiji as part of the World Cup build-up just after the season ends, while the World Cup begins on Saturday the 15th of October, England versus Samoa at St James's Park will be the kick-off of the tournament. Just a quick thought on the England squad. The youngsters, some of them will probably stay, but like I said, Kai Pearce-Paul, this is just a look at him. Got that offload, that X factor about him, which can be developed, but he's still only young. This World Cup might be too soon for him, but tell me what your thoughts are. So on March the 1st, the Sydney Roosters have announced that head coach Trent Robinson has extended his contract by a further 5 years. His current contract is ongoing until the end of 2023, but the extension ensures that Robinson, the longest serving coach of the club since the club's foundation in 114 years ago, will remain at the helm till at least the conclusion of the 2028 season. On this development, Roosters chairman Mr. Nick Politis, AM, said Robinson was to be commended for his strong leadership and his ethos, in saying, "In my view, Trent is the game's best thinker. He is a man of high integrity with genuine love for his players, the history of the club, and the area we represent. Every player that we have signed since Trent came along and on board as head coach in 2013 has become a better player and person, and it's wonderful to know that Trent will continue to lead the way at the Roosters well into the future, he added. Not a prolific player in the NRL level, playing 3 games for West Tigers in 2000 and 2001 and 1 game for Parramatta Eels, he's been known as a coach more in his time, as he coached 63 games for Catalan's Dragons between 2011 and 2012, while when Sydney Roosters came calling in 2013, he has since managed 249 games, winning 162. He went on to say about the appointment, the contract extension, "The club has the biggest part of my working life. It is unequivocally my home," said Robinson. "The Roosters are in my DNA, and as a leader, my role here is pretty clear. Walking into our office every day, seeing the quality of staff and players we have here, we are all committed to striving to be the best sporting franchise in Australia. I'm incredibly proud to extend my time with the club." So with this contract, by the end of the 2028 season, Robinson, the 3-time grand final winning coach, would have been in management for a little over 15 years with one rugby league club. Yes, he had a short stint beforehand in the south of France, but to create a dynasty, you've got to be there long enough and be successful. There has been an odd blip along the way, especially when back in 2016, when they finished 15th out of 16, but the Roosters have kept with Robinson during that period, and it's deemed successful. 2 years later, they won the grand final, and since then, not too far off winning it, or have won it during that time. Don't forget that he isn't the only coach that has signed a new contract before the season has even kicked off. He joins St George Illawarra's Anthony Griffin in their extending contract reign just before the season starts. Now we finish with some sad Rugby League World Cup news, as one of the competing nations would have been forced to pull out of the Rugby League World Cup due to numerous factors, unfortunately, as Norway Rugby League have pulled out their wheelchair rugby league team from the competition, and in a statement alongside the International Rugby League Board and Rugby League World Cup bosses, they cited what the issue was. The president of the Rugby League Norway, RLN, has informed the Board of International Rugby League that due to the impacts of COVID-19, the Norwegian wheelchair team are unable to play any matches or carry out any meaningful preparation for the 2021 World Cup. Therefore, Norway will be unable to participate in the competition. In a statement, Anne Hay of the Rugby League Norway, who is the president, said, "This is a difficult decision that ultimately the challenges we have faced have left us with no alternative. This has not deterred us, and we are determined to establish Wheelchair Rugby League in Norway with the hope of 2 to 3 wheelchair clubs in the not too distant future. We do hope to be in a much stronger position with a view of entering into future tournaments." Head of the International Rugby League Board, Troy Grant, said, This has really been a difficult decision of Norway, and I thank the President Haig for keeping us and the World Cup team up to date throughout the RLN and the Rugby League World Cup 2021 and IRL, International Rugby League, have worked closely together for many months, but to find a solution that would enable Norway to participate. But unfortunately, it is another victim of the pandemic. While one team's pain is another team's gain, as Rugby League Ireland have been drafted in to fill the slot that Norway have left and are hoping to be competitive in the tournament. Rugby League Ireland's Jim Reynolds, seen here on the right, was enthused by the decision and the announcement, as he is stated saying, "We're absolutely delighted with the news that Ireland wheelchair team will participate in the World Cup later this year. The opportunity to put on the green shirt for the country could not be better timed with our 2022 drive to raise participation in wheelchair rugby league in Ireland." The head of the Rugby League World Cup team, John Dutton, also had his hot say on the whole situation, with sympathy for the Rugby League Norway team, and also the opportunity that arises for the Rugby League Ireland team. "We know how hard everyone in Norway, in the Norwegian Federation, have worked since being welcomed into the tournament, so it's disappointing this decision has to be made. We have received regular updates from Rugby League Norway and had hoped that the extra time would have helped with the preparedness. This hasn't been the case, and in partnership with the IRL, they have taken the brave decision to step aside and allow a tournament-ready team to participate. We look forward to welcoming Ireland wheelchair team and wish them well in their preparations." Ireland now go into the group vacated by Norway, and that group consists of Australia, England and Spain. Their opening match against Spain is at the Copper Box Arena in London on Thursday, November the 3rd, 2022. But from a little bird in the Ireland squad, they are expecting a very hard competition for them and the rest of their team, as they expect Spain to be very competitive due to their work alongside the French team. They are very, very, very close, who beat England recently. Australia, who have been training so intensely during the pandemic. It's been non-stop training. It's unbelievable from what I've been told. And England, who have got a wheelchair competition, a full one, which the Ireland players are participating in, but expect England to be second in the group, with the finalists being France, Australia. And that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe and also share this video worldwide, as well as clicking that little bell to find out when our next stories are coming out and some more information about rugby league is coming to you. So, what are your thoughts on today's stories? Shaun Wane's 30-man squad is a training squad, we know, but it gives us some idea of what he's looking for in the team that he wants to put on the field when it comes World Cup time. Do you think that there should have been some others added? I know people are saying Jake Contr, but I think Jack Wellesby should be better. Trent Robinson, the former Catalans coach, who's extended a contract to have an 8-year contract basically at Sydney Roosters. It's good for progression and it will help all the youngsters come through and hopefully can create that dynasty that so many people keep talking about in the NRL that they want to produce and be celebrated for it. And finally, Norway's loss is Ireland's gain. What an unbelievable turn of events, and I do feel sorry for Norway, as they worked hard to get the opportunity to play in the World Cup. If it was a year earlier, it would have been them that would be going and playing at this point. It's just unfortunate that now there's no option for them. Lack of numbers basically. It's a shame. But I hope that they come back better and stronger, ready for whatever tournament comes their way. I'm hoping for a European Championships, to be fair. Because there are 7 strong teams out there, and that can only make the sport better. And don't forget, I do run a Facebook page. Please join me on there. You'll see the posts from there. There'll be some discussions. I want you to engage on that so that we can grow our conversation as well as the sport. In the meantime, please, all of you, stay safe. I'll say all the best to you. And I'll see you in the next episode.